Welcome to Claws Out, midweek pod time here at the Mic'd Up Studio live in Parramatta, joined by the two Robs and Steve. And Rob, who's picking our side? I want to know because, Cameron Serrato is getting a lot of stick this year for chopping and changing our spine, and we seem to have changes every week in the studio. We've got no coach today and no Gary.
We're a bit like the West Tigers are at the moment, mate. Forced changes. Gary was busy with work. Adel's training schedule, unfortunately, clashes with the 5 o'clock start, given that we're not on daylight saving anymore or been like that for a few weeks. So, yeah, it'd be great to have him on board, but obviously without Gary, it'll be a much better show today.
We've had a few injuries of late, but coach is all right. He was in a car accident Sunday night.
Yeah, he got ran from behind, unfortunately. Thankfully, the driver, who was quite shocked, and Adel are okay. But, yeah, Adel's said it's been a little bit downhill since then in terms of the last couple of days he's had. So hopefully his week at South Logan Magpies goes better for him.
Junior, you haven't had to have the commiserations of coming in the last two Sunday nights after losses, but your overall takeaway from that Sunday game at the Storm?
I think it was an expected result. It was a first grade side against the New South Wales Cup side, I guess, and they just got the better of us.
Steve, you're actually going to the game this Saturday. You're off to Magic Round.
Yeah, heading up there on Thursday, going to the Women's State of Origin on Thursday night. Then we'll be out there on Saturday, going to a Tigers event at Bradbury's pub before the game, then heading over to the ground after that. Yeah, it should be good.
Is it a bucket list item? I haven't been before, but a lot of NRL fans rave about going. I couldn't think of anything worse than being surrounded by drunk Queenslanders for 3 days straight.
Yeah, well, I lived up there, so I was surrounded by drunk Queenslanders for a number of years, and they're a different crowd up there. They sure are. But no, it is a bucket list event because it's a good atmosphere. Like just going to Caxton. See, I never realised until I moved up there that Caxton Street is like literally right next to Lang Park, right? And it's just such a great vibe. You go to the Caxton, you go to the other pubs there, and there's people everywhere, and yeah, it's good.
So given it's a 3 o'clock game, if I was going to Magic Round and we lost, I'd just get the shits and storm off. Will you stick around for the next 2 games if we lose on Saturday?
I've been known to bolt. I've been known to bolt. No, I'll probably. I think the Roosters are playing, aren't they? So anytime they're playing, I want to watch them get smashed. Yep. So I'll probably stick around for that. But it depends. If I got the shits, I could just go to the Caxton.
It's been a bugbear of Tigers fans in the past giving away home games. We've done it consistently in Magic Round. I mean, ironically, we're 4-2 up there. But do you still get annoyed that we give up home games every year?
I get annoyed pretty easily, Eddie, as you all know. I don't want to see home games given away, but given what's going on with Leichhardt Oval and the renovations, going to happen soon and all that, we've just got to trust the club for whatever reason. I don't like games at CommBank, but that worked out for us as well too. So it's good for our fans going up there, but yeah, why can't we be an away team and still enjoy Magic Round?
Junior, would you rather be this game at Leichhardt or Campbelltown? I know it's Magic Round, but would you rather be the away team for once?
Yeah, I think during Magic Round, you always benefit if it's an away game for you. In saying that, like Dad pointed out, we've had a pretty good record up at Suncorp during Magic Round. I think we're 5 wins, 2 losses.
4-2.
4-2, there you go. Well, hopefully 5-2 after this week.
Okay, well, we will get to the West Tigers side in about 10 minutes because there are a couple of changes and the boys are pretty fired up. A couple of them not too happy with what Benji's rolled out this week. And after the preview, we're going to talk about some great news for the club. Tito Taruva re-signing for 3 more years, and we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive on the roster, some of the off-contract guys in 26 and 27. And if I get time, Rob, the Tears is back. Tears is going to make another appearance for 2 weeks in a row. I've changed a little bit up this week. So, Steve, just an overall takeaway, snapshot at the ladder. We're still sitting in 6th place, which after 10 rounds is you would have taken that at the start of the year, but 5-4, plus 81 differential, now only plus 12. If I was to put a percentage chance on us making the 8 at the moment, hand on your heart, what would you, or hand, thinking more head than heart, what would you say?
I think, look, we spoke about this the other night. I think it comes down to our injury run between now and the end of the season, but I'm still confident. I'd say 75% chance of making the 8. I'm not as confident now that we're going to push any higher than the 8. I don't think we'll make the top 4. But, like the thing is, if the start of the season, if you were to fast forward to this point in the season, would you be happy with where we're at? And I would say a win against Manly this weekend, going into a bye, we'd be very happy with where we're sitting.
You did say, Junior, before this run of games against Cronulla and Melbourne, 1 out of 3 would be a pass mark, so it's still available this week.
Yeah, I think considering the circumstances, like Steve pointed out, the amount of injuries we had, and not the amount of them, like who they are as well. I think if you named our best 7 or 8 players, we've got 5 of those guys out right now. So I think that's what's hurting the most. But I'm not sure I would be happy with 5-5 if it wasn't for these injuries, because we were 5-5 last year, and that season turned around. The only benefit this year is during the middle of the season, I feel like we have a pretty easy draw. So if we can get some of those troops back, I'm confident that we can make the 8 still.
Seems to be the case every year, and this year it's more injury, but we just have those slumps in the middle of the year where you'd think a side that's usually not origin affected should be going on a bit of a run, but for the various reasons over the years, we just seem to be in a bog in that middle of the season.
You can't lose your 5 best players and be effective. The difference between last year and this year for me, even though you said we were 5-5 last year, I don't think I really believed last year at any point. It's just like, you know what, the boys are going good, but do we have a team that's capable of playing finals and winning a comp? No. The way we started this season, totally different vibe. I wish I had your 75% expectations. I do believe it comes down to injuries. If I know definitely that Samuel is going to be back within that 12-week period and Adam's closer to 4 weeks and 6 weeks, yeah, I don't mind those percentages. But, you know, right now for me, I'd probably say 40%, but I know with our best team, I'd actually say 90%.
Benji's always got to project a message to his players when he's in those press conferences. He said there's a bit of we don't want that negative smell to start creeping in.
Yeah, he said a couple of things in that press conference. That's one of them. And I think he's alluding to the fact that things can change, perceptions can change very, very quickly. And, you know, we said this the other night in the podcast, or a couple of podcasts ago, that one win in these three is really important because it does sort of bolster that belief, you know. And so this now Manly game is really, really important because I think it would be easy for us to go on that slide. The younger guys start to think back to last year and start to have those negative thoughts. So they need to sort of prove that they can hang tough, which they haven't been able to do. And that's what happens to the Tigers of the past, right? They just don't hang tough. And they lose 1-2 to 9, right? We've got to redress it. I think the other thing Benji said that I thought was pretty clever was he brought himself and the coaching team into the frame and said, you know, we've got to have a look at ourselves. And he took the pressure off the players straight away and put it on himself.
I mean, Junior, we are decimated at the moment, but is the most disappointing thing the fact they've conceded over 90 points the last 2 weeks? You would expect the attack to really suffer without Appy and AD and Buller, etc. But defensively, we haven't shown a lot of resolve.
Yeah, defensively we definitely haven't. But again, I just think it's the quality of player that we're bringing in. Like, no disrespect to the guys that we are bringing in. They're trying very hard, but I just think most of them aren't quite first grade standard. And I think the way Benji's done the team list, which we'll get into later as well, but looking at last week's team, you've got a couple of New South Wales Cup players and they're defending next to each other. I think that's the issue. I think when other teams have injuries, they're kind of spread out over the left, right and middle. So, yeah, ours just seem to be in one spot.
What about the impact of referees this year? I'll stay with you, and not specifically about last week because the game was over after 15 minutes, but I think the average winning margin this year is over 21 points, which is the greatest it's ever been. Are they having a greater impact than ever in terms of how they call games early?
I think some referees are. I think, like take last week as an example, Adam G is the type of referee where his tactics very clear. He likes to set the precedent with the ruck very early in the game, give away a lot of 6 again, so that way teams know nothing's going to cut it. Other referees like Wyatt Raymond, they try to stay out of the game a little bit more. I just think what we're seeing this year is a team dominates the first 20, 25 minutes, then the other team dominates the next 30, and then it's a coin flip for who gets the last 20 or 30.
Overall, I had a look at it because the NRL don't publish, a table of ruck infringement stuff. It's very hard to find, but penalties, we've won 4 penalty counts and lost 3 penalty counts. And ruck infringements, we've won 3 of those counts and lost 5. Do you still think we're an easy target with the referees, or you think the more games we win, we'll start to get some of those calls?
I think we were starting to earn that respect back and getting a little bit better calls, but I think that's gone to water the last couple of weeks. If you win the ruck, you don't concede those 6 agains. We're missing Terrell, we're missing Appy, we're missing Samuela. That's essentially our 3 best players in the forward pack. So I'm not going to go too hard from that. On the close to 90 points we've conceded in the last couple of weeks, Eddie, I'll give the team a little bit of grace. 5 or 6 of those tries are from kicks or grubber kicks or bombs or whatever. It's not actually all, for example, right edge defence. There are some, not diffusing kicks. There was 2 good cross kicks the other day for Warbrick. There was a grubber kick for Wilton. Last week against Cronulla, there was the first try, I think, as well for Wilton was off a bomb that was dropped. So it's not all tackling. It's actually just, some of it's aerial as well.
All right, let's get the team on the screen. West Tigers team to take on Manly this Saturday at Suncorp. Same 1-7 as last week. However, a change at hooker. Latu Fine, who starts in place of Tristan Hope. Terrell May is back, thank God. And the bench, interesting looking bench. Tristan Hope at 14, Maverick Guy 15, Charlie Murray on the extended bench. And Ethan Roberts, number 18, no place for Bunty Afoa Jr. You're not happy about a couple of things. Go through it.
I really dislike this team. I think Benji's trying to stick with consistency. I think his plan is, I know where we went wrong last week, so I'll just try to address that with the players that I had and put the trust in them again, knowing that we're going into the bye. I would have done a complete shake-up if it was up to me.
Where?
Well, everywhere. I would have... So I got my side here. I would have had Taruva playing right centre. And I would have had Skelton on the right wing. Reason being, I think Skelton, Taruva, and then Latu, who I would have had at half. I feel like that'll be a better 3-man edge defensively because you got Taruva at the 2-man, KPP at the 4, and they're both leaders of the team. So, like I said, it just kind of gives an extra good player in between two that aren't as good defensively. And then, I wouldn't have started Jock this week. I think defensively he got exposed last week. I would have had Latu there. And I would have played Charlie Murray at hooker and given Jared Hayward a debut off the bench.
You as sceptical as Junior about the team name?
Absolutely. I think the third best position for what the team needs right now is Taruva on the wing. And I know that's a backflip from after the Cronulla game when I said, gee, we needed Taruva on the wing. But if you're not going to put him at fullback, you've got to put him at centre. I think there's 3 major problems with our team. And in batting order, it's hooker number 1, it's that right centre position number 2, and it's fullback number 3. I don't think whatever Benji did this week was going to fix all 3 problems. But I just want to give you an example. Like, surely you guys would all say South is one of the best 3 left edge attacks in the league, maybe with Penrith and the Newcastle one currently with Marjorie scoring 8 tries in 2 weeks. We played them when we lost 20-16. First 2 tries came down our left edge. Jai Gray through Luai, White and through Makasini and Lauli. Third try was off a midfield bomb down the right-hand side, and the 4th try was a grubber kick. We held that edge with Adam, with KPP, with Taruva, and with Skelton. Now, you can't do that if you have those 3 players and you put Jock Madden there. That whole edge is still stuffed as far as I'm concerned because Madden's making some bad decisions defensively. You put Latu there, and I actually think you fixed that right edge problem there and then. You still haven't addressed hooker, though. And that's where, maybe you just go with a makeshift guy like Amari or Sione Fainu to share some minutes, even Hayward, which I know I'm in the minority with the boys. They don't want to blood him too early, but, I don't think it does him any harm being on the bench and coming on for a 15, 20-minute spark. But you could have fixed hooker and you could have fixed that right edge. But the number one thing for all of that is Latu at 7 because forget what he brings to the side in attack. His defence is elite and he would shore up that right edge.
Benji doesn't really do smoke screens. You don't think there could be a late shuffle and Latu does play halfback?
I would hope there is. So, but yeah, if I could get Latu at half and Taruva in the centres for the defence, I'll put up with Mason for another week. I'm not a Mason fan, but like I said, you can't fix all 3 of those problems given who's available right now.
Your thoughts on the team?
Yeah, a couple of thoughts. Personally, like Benji has said, he's going to hold the team to standards. We had Pole last week at a defender in the middle, missing 6 tackles. I think that's too many for an A defender, especially when we had a forward on the other side who's slow. So I would have, and I know Benji doesn't like this because he's never done it. I've said it a number of times. I know Gary has said it a number of times. I would be starting with Sione in the middle, right? And I would have moved probably Suka to an edge, but Suka's not anywhere, so I don't know what the story is there. I will talk about nine for a minute, and that's Latu. I agree. I reckon Latu deserves a shot at 7. Like he doesn't seem to be getting any opportunity to show his wares at 7, but I don't mind him at 9, and I'll tell you why. Because you're winning games on momentum, right? At the moment, right? And you get momentum, and the other team fatigues, and that's when they give away 6 again, right? And the momentum doubles down on itself. Last week we had a team that had absolutely nothing to give at a dummy half, right? We had nothing. All right, so the defensive line didn't have to get drawn into the ruck, right? Because our ruck attack was non-existent, right? And so far they held their line, and our middle forwards going punching down the middle didn't have the impact we've had when we have Appy there, right? Having Latu at 9 gives us an attacking option. He can be dangerous, right? He's fast. He's got a kicking option. Having him at 9 at least will make the defensive line stop and think. And if he makes a break earlier, if he does something good early, gives a good ball, then it's going to put the defensive line in 2 minds, which is going to help our middle forwards get down the field because they can't just run up on the middle forwards as quickly because they've got to wait. So I do think there is an advantage, and there's some common sense around Latu at 9.
We can't get into Latu's head, but what do you think he'd be thinking as a young player? Because he signed on big money a few years ago from the club, and he said all the right things. On the bench, I've always felt like he's been tidy and clean, but never really had great impact on the bench. Do you think he'd be relishing starting at hooker, or would be looking at like, oh my God, I've got to defend in the middle now against big guys?
I think from the answers he's given in interviews and press conferences, he's happy to do whatever the team needs. I think he's actually genuinely a true team-first type of player. I think he'll be glad to be starting this week. I think he'll see an opportunity and take it with both hands.
You split the role with Hope, or do you think Charlie Murray's named on the bench? What do you do there?
I'm sure Benji's going to split it with Hope, but I just think, like Dad pointed out, there's so many problems with our team defensively, and this team list doesn't address any of those. Like Steve mentioned about Suka not being on the edge. He's someone that I would have brought in on the edge as well, just to strengthen up. Like our right edge is still super, super weak. The middle, it's going to be a tough role for Latu. I don't know how many minutes he'll get through before he gets subbed out for Hope.
What does Latu give you that Hope doesn't?
I think Latu's our best option at hooker. The problem is he's our best option at halfback. It's just like Taruva. Taruva's our best wing option, our best fullback option, our best right centre option.
Are we underselling Jock, though? I mean, Jock did win those 3 games, and I know he's had his issues defensively, but you genuinely think would have made that change this week?
You can't keep the majority of that team and expect a different result this weekend. And again, this is just my opinion, and Rob Jr.'s and Steve's. Like, hopefully we come out and win. I just think we haven't really addressed anything except the hooking situation. Like, Latu will defend better. He'll give good service. He's got the kicking game that you said as well. So that we saw Tristan Host, not that it matters, but the chip over the top on full time.
The
35-metre chip over the top, that all it would have done was given Melbourne a chance to get 50 points. Seriously, like, it was just a brain dead.
Latu gives us a point of attack. He gives us a point of attack we didn't have last week, right? It's not Appy. It's not what Appy brings, but it's something. It's something to put the defence in two mind. And our last 2 weeks, we've had nothing through the middle, right? We've been smashed, right? Because defensive ones don't need to watch what's happening at the ruck as much. If Latu gets out and does something, then it gives us another point of attack.
Patrick Herbert hasn't exactly shot the lights out, but does this suggest that Skelton and Toa are just on the outer? That they can't get into this side?
Yeah, I thought maybe Benji might give Toa a go, just because I think Manly and we'll get into it, but I think Manly are very weak on their left edge. So I think matching Toa up just to give us an attacking option, I thought he might have gone that route. But Manly are also they like to attack through their left edge as well. So again, that's the problem with this team list. Like, you've got Kai Pearce-Paul who defends really, really well. Then you get Jock, who isn't great defensively, Herbert, who's not great defensively, and then you got Taruva on the wing. So I understand wanting Taruva on the wing because that voice is needed to help the defensive line, but there's just too much liability between Herbert and Jock, and I think
it's also sorry I interrupted you.
Right.
It's also Taruva's carries. That's why he.
See, I won't buy the carry stuff, because you can ruck out as a centre. Taylor May takes hit ups every week. He's got very good yardage meters every week, and he's a centre. And if we went the team that I would have named, Skelton would have been on the wing. Like, I don't think anyone can sit here and say that if Taruva's a 10 out of 10 at rucking it out, Skelton's a 9. Like, Skelton has 200 metres almost every game that he plays. Yeah, he's got errors in things like that.
In Benji's head, it's Taruva on the wing for the early carries. He said it. He said that's why he moved him. That's why he put Mason back in.
But why can't he do it from right centre?
Yeah, well, that's the point.
And we're making out like Taruva ran 200 metres on Sunday. He ran 124. Like, what did we? The thing for me is Jock Madden sets that line. It's not Taruva, and the first decision that Jock makes affects the rest of that line, and it's his decisions that are worse than his actual defence. His defence isn't too bad. I think you could have hidden Jock in the middle, as you suggested on Sunday night, Steve, playing him, giving him some time at hooker. And because he's got no choices there. He's in the middle. He's just got to tackle.
But I think you might see that defensively. You mentioned, is it a smoke screen? I think you might see Jock defend in the middle and Latu on the edge just to strengthen that right side a little bit. And then I think in attack, you'll see Madden go to halfback and Latu as the serviceman.
I think Taruva would have plugged that right centre position 100%. Defensively. And you got to think defence before you worry about attack.
We're quite excited when Bunty came over and the strong preseason he had, and it's harsh to judge a guy off one game, but the way the NRL's being played this game and these days and the speed it is the game passed him by a little bit at first grade level.
Unfortunately, it has, and Adel called it preseason. He said, I don't think he's right for first grade. His lateral movement isn't good enough. He changes hands with the play the ball. And I mentioned to you guys privately in the group chat, like I feel sorry for the bloke because he's worked his ass off, and it just makes you realise, just take Bunty out of the equation. Just think of every rugby league player, like how hard it is. They work their ass off, they get a chance, and then he's basically worked for 6 months to get that opportunity,
but
maybe
I think,
more.
like even Royce last year must have known he was at the crossroads the way the game was going and made a complete adjustment to his body, and even he's still only playing 20 or 24 minutes.
Yeah, but that's more than what he was doing for us last year.
Yeah.
I think he wasn't even scratching 20 minutes last year. I think he's had a game this year where he busted 31 minutes. So at least Royce has got a bigger motor. But I feel sorry for Bunty Afal, but unfortunately I think his time's passed. The thing with Benji on Sunday, given Terrell pulled out late, again, Adel pointed out you can't have both Bunty Afoa and Royce Hunt on at the same time. So if you were going to play him, you had to start. And I'm sure Benji had his reservations about Bunty Afoa starting, but he probably said, you know what, it's now or never. Give him a chance. If he might lift and find something. And obviously, he was found out defensively, and I don't think we'll see him in first grade as well, which is quite sad for him. But it's not for lack of trying. And again, we're giving our opinions here, but everyone in that team, even the players I don't think are up to it, they're all giving their all. I just think some of them aren't first graders.
Ethan Roberts in number 18. He was a signing, went a bit under the radar at the start of the year from the Roosters, from the lower grades. Tell us a little bit about him.
Yeah, well, I think he got an injury, didn't he, early season, so he hasn't had a chance to really show what he's got. I watched him last week for about 2/3 of that reserve grade game, and he was strong. He carried the ball. He carried the ball strong. He carried the ball with impact. He had post meters. Right, he didn't just hit and drop. He had post meters. But what really impressed me about him, and it's the first time I've noticed it with him, was his ball play. Ball play at the line out on that left edge. He was very good. So, he's a prospect. I don't know if he's ready yet. I haven't seen enough of him, but he's good.
Yeah, I heard a lot of good things, like reading online about what people were saying about what he can do with the late offload and ball playing at the line on the left edge. That's another thing that should have been a no-brainer. I mean, we saw how bad Sione was defensively on an edge last week. Like I said, I don't think this team list fixes enough issues for this game. So,
out of like Maverick Guy, Charlie Murray, Ethan Roberts, do you expect one of them to play any more minutes than the other, or it's sort of just like it could be either or?
Out of Gaia, Roberts, and
Murray.
Murray's not in the 19. I don't think he will come in. He's on the reserves.
He's on the 20.
I think Gaia will probably get the most out of those. I think it's all situational, but as well, like it depends what's needed. Like if we probably need points, then maybe Gaia doesn't play. Maybe Ethan Roberts with offload ability. Maybe Benji wants to create second phase. I'm sure he's got a plan and he knows better than me. But yeah, I don't think you'll see both of them play.
All right, we'll get to game planning stuff in a minute, but let's put the Manly team on the screen. A couple of changes for them. They get their halfback back in Jamal Fogarty, replacing the rookie Joey Walsh, who's been very impressive in the 2 games he's played. They've done a bit of an ex-Tiger shuffle at hooker. Jake Simpkin in for the suspended Brandon Wakeham. And Faulalo, I don't know the pronunciation, apologies. He did actually play fullback last week. He was named at centre, Steve, but he's going to play fullback and Kohler back to the centres. It's a funny sort of team, Manly. They've surged up to 5th on the ladder. They were going terrible under Seabold, lost their first 3 games heavily, won 5 of their last 6 under Forum. Are they going as good as the ladder suggests?
Yeah, well, I watched them today. I watched them against the Broncos. I know the Broncos were under strength, but they were solid, right? They weren't they weren't outstanding. They didn't tear them apart, but they just played the game they had to play. Defensively, they only allowed the Broncos to score 4 points. Their line speed was really, really quick. Therefore, like Paseka had a great game. I thought Brown was good when he came on as well. I thought they punched through the middle well. Fogarty wasn't there, of course, and I thought Walsh and Brooks actually combined really well. So it's interesting that that's not going to be the combination this week. Brooks had his best game I've seen Brooks play for years and years and years. Whether he's up to that again, I don't know. But to be honest, mate, I don't know. These guys don't agree quite as much. I watched that game and I thought, I'm a bit scared about this. They looked ready for the game.
Team doesn't look that scary on paper, does it, Manly, compared to even the last couple of teams we played, even though they're going red hot?
I respect they've won 5 out of 6 games. They got up for Jake Trebojevich's 250th last week. Brandon Wakeham was tackling, like he was, Solomon Hamono, but from back in the day. I don't know where he grew that leg from. And Brooks played his best game, but I think Brooks played his best game because of what you said, Joey Walsh. I think they just play a sort of natural eyes up, what's in front of them type of game. I think where Fogarty's more structured, and I don't think that suits Luke Brooks as much, but Luke Brooks was outstanding. And, can you do it 2 weeks in a row? You mentioned Nathan Brown playing well. Again, that's another bloke who's basically semi-retired in the off-season. Like, no one wanted him. Manly were trying to offload him to us. I think it's a really beatable team, but not given how we've named our lineup. So I would rather be playing a Penrith this week, and I don't care where Benji names anyone because we'd lose. But I feel like Manly are beatable this week, even though they still might put a number on us. But I actually think regardless, this team will actually still go close, even as bad as we've named it.
Strengths and weaknesses, Manly team?
Yeah, they're not a great side on paper, but the way they're playing, they're the third best defence in the comp right now, and they haven't been playing bums every week. I mean, under Seabold, they lost by 1 to the Raiders. They lost to the Knights, who at the start of the season were as red hot as us. And they lost to the Roosters, who are going to be a top 4 side. And it's not like the teams that they've touched up have been terrible. I mean, they held the Dolphins to 18 points. They're a great attacking side. They held the Cowboys to 6, another great attacking side. They lost to Penrith by 2. I'm worried as to where we're going to score points. I mean, they've conceded less than 10 tries through their middle. I think they've conceded 6. They've conceded 8 on their right edge, but they've let in 17 on their left. So that's their weakness. Our target this week has to be using Kai Pearce-Paul as our attacking threat, getting him to target between Ben Trebojevic and Luke Brooks, because that's where their weak link is in the defensive line.
I think they have benefited a little from playing teams that have been under strength. I know they beat Parramatta easily, who were decimated. They beat Brisbane easily, who were decimated. But that does surprise me. I think they've only conceded something like 80 points in the last 6 games. Like, I've always considered Manly the last 2 or 3 years a good attacking side, but vulnerable defensively.
Yeah, well, we played when we played Brisbane, right? We got beaten by Adam Reynolds, right? He like on his own, he won that game for them. Manly don't do that, right? They don't like Trebojevic is out, right? So they don't have a star that tends to they ride off the back of, but they are playing well as a team, right? Their pack is hunting together as a pack. They're going up together defensively. They're all doing their job, right? They just look like a good team performing well. Now, they've got to lose soon, right? Like, Foran's not going to have 100% coaching record. They got to have.
They did lose
game.
to Penrith, so he's not 100% anymore.
Oh, that's right. Okay,
Yeah.
But even that was probably their most impressive
2 points,
performance.
They're 87.5% or whatever it is.
But if I can just mention one thing, just on what Junior was saying, I'll tell you where we are in for a fight, and that's Lily. And I wonder what you guys think. I wonder whether they'd consider swapping Lily and Taruva, because, man, I watched against Brisbane. They love going to that left post and then kicking across field to the right to Saab, and he is on point every time. Right? And Lily's going to have a headache.
Yeah, well, there's a reason they like to do that. It's because their left side is their stronger attacking side. And then if teams somehow stop their left side shift, they've got that kick to Saab, and there's going to be a 1.5 foot mismatch this week. Like
Warbrick was.
Yeah, well, he had a hard time against Warbrick. Saab's the best winger in the air in the comp. So, he's not going to catch many over him.
Kohler and Olakau'atu, what's on your tip sheet? How do you stop those guys?
You don't stop Olakau'atu, you just limit the damage he can do, like Brisbane did the other night, to be fair. Like, he was still almost getting through the line. He almost got to the try line. I'll disagree a little bit about Saab on both of you. He bombed a couple of tries the other night as well. One went in his chest, and one he couldn't position himself in the first half when he tried to leap around someone. But Olakau'atu, I don't know how you stop Kohler. Like, that's our biggest problem. Right centre is Herbert. Kohler's going to have a field day if we don't make some sort of move. I'm not saying Tito Taruva will stop him, but it seems that Taruva at right centre has been our best option at stopping him. And don't forget Olakau'atu under the high ball as well. So that cross kick doesn't always have to go to Saab. It can go to someone in the middle like Olakau'atu, who's great in the air as well.
We got to get up on them, right? Like, I don't know where our line speed's gone the last couple of weeks. I think a lot of it's got to do with fatigue. Like, we've had to do so much defence, and we're just too fatigued to have that line speed. But we've got to force them back inside. We do that with quick line speed. And, one of the things Dewey does really well, and we're missing this. Like, Dewey knows perfectly when to jump out of the line. He did that on the right, and we haven't got that at the moment. We really need someone to be jumping out and forcing the ball back inside, because you can't jump out and then miss, because they just, then they got the man, right?
The thing with Manly, you got to be on from the get-go. It must have been, it feels like 6 weeks ago now. They played the Roosters and shifted it from the kickoff and scored in the first 40 seconds. So we've got to be awake even from the kickoff if we happen to be the guys kicking off, that they're quick with an early spread. I think Benji's actually played his hand by naming Latu at 9. I think Benji's plan is let's go down Main Street. We're going through the forwards. We've got Terrell May, we've got Fanua Bole. We're going to try and pound them down the middle, and then maybe we can get them out wide. I know the left edge of Manly is really poor, Rob. I don't rate Ruben Garrick's defence. If we can get outside of Olakau'atu, I think Taylor May can have some damage on Ruben Garrick as well. I really do.
It's not Garrick that's the issue. It's the fact that he's got good defenders on his right and left with Saab and then Fogarty coming back in. Like, Fogarty's not as bad a defensive half. And then they've also got Olakau'atu. Like, I don't think we're going to be sending anything that way.
Well, we found out Fogarty last year when he was playing on the right side for Canberra. I think Olakau'atu can't hold up that whole thing on his own. I know he's a great player, but he's not the Great Wall of China. Yeah. I think we should still be targeting him either side.
All right, Mirko matchup time. Sponsors of the midweek show at Mirko Renovations. We don't just renovate, we bring your vision to life. Whether it's a modern kitchen, a luxury bathroom, or a full home makeover, our team delivers high-quality craftsmanship with attention to every detail. We pride ourselves on being reliable, transparent, and easy to work with. No surprises, just results you'll love. From concept to completion, Mirko Renovations handles it all. Junior, what's the key matchup this week?
Yep, for the Tigers, it's Kai Pearce-Paul. He's, like I said, their left edge is weak. He's got to be the person that we use in attack and then try and get some second phase off the back of his strong runs. For Manly, it's cooler. He's coming up against Patrick Herbert, who we know isn't the best defensively, and I think he's going to set up Hopewadi for a lot of tries this week.
Rob, what's the game plan for Manly this week from an attacking point of view? Where do you go, Adam? Coach didn't send anything, but Coach Gary this week. Gary sent something in, but you go first, and I'll scroll through what Gary sent in, a bit of a game plan for us.
I guess Manly's just going to play whatever's in front of them. It's not like that we were strong everywhere. They can go down the middle. They can go down our right. I mean, their threat really is Olakau'atu as well as Kohler, so they'll go a bit to the right. I don't think there's any specific target. They will definitely try and target Luke, not just from an aerial perspective, but look at that Brisbane try where Adam Reynolds did a cross kick for Dean Mariner. Like, we jam up really quickly, as Steve just said, that we can be found out there. Saab, in my opinion, is the fastest player in rugby league, so we've got to be wary for some early kicks. They've got a lot of ways they can hurt us, but I think we just hurt them through scoreboard pressure. We stay with them. We get through the grind. We see Luke Brooks playing really well when it's all downhill. Let that scoreboard be against him and force them into some errors. Fogarty's first game back for a couple of weeks. I really think we're a chance. I'm just hoping that Benji Marshall finds his inner Tim Sheens and does a Sheensy shuffle. But again, we don't know. We might win with this team the way Benji's lined up and we say sorry on Sunday night. But I just think this team doesn't really have as much of a chance as I thought it would have.
I'll tell you something they did a lot against Brisbane. I know it's only one game, but I'd expect it again, is they love using the short side on the left, right? They'll sort of shuffle across to the middle of the left-hand side of the field. Then they'll spread right, but they'll go left, and Brooks will take it. Now, they scored a try off that, but admittedly, Brisbane had a player in the bin at the time. But they went back to that short side, left side multiple
times. 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they got Hopewadi over.
I'll do my best Gary impersonation. I'll lean forward and pound the desk. But he said, Rob Jr., he said, need to start well defensively, get in the grind, need someone to help Twal set the line speed, aggression in defence, numbers in the tackle, keep them kicking inside their 20. Simple game plan and need to take our opportunities. Can't lose the penalty count and set restarts, need to win middle of the field.
Yeah, I don't know how you keep them kicking from inside their
that's
20.
A bit like that's the best defence of all time.
Yeah, pretty much.
Maybe the 40.
I'll take the 40. If we can keep them in their 40, I think it's a good result. And then again, the control, not giving away 6 agains. I think we've been pretty disciplined, and we just haven't been on the good end of that 6 again count. So I think, again, that comes up to the ref, and this week's referee is Grant Atkins, who, similar to Adam G, likes to put his mark on the game early and make sure there's no nonsense. So expect a lot of 6 against in the first 10 minutes against both sides.
Jerome, we've gone about 40 minutes without mentioning, but he's always on Tigers fans' lips, good or bad. What do you want from him this week?
I want to see more of what I saw in the second half, with the exception of the tackle on Lasardi at the end of the game. I thought, again, there's so much criticism of Luai, and it's all due to his price tag. I think we might have discussed this. If you picked our best 6 players, not that we played great at all, I mean, Jerome's going to be somewhere between 4 and 6 for me on the weekend. He's doing his job. That left edge isn't getting targeted unless it's a kick. So defensively, 2 weeks in a row, we've done a good job. Jerome's not the sort of guy that's going to be the man. He needs players around him, and he's missing Samuel Afenu, he's missing Buller coming in, he's missing teaming up with Adam Dewey. we've just got to cop the criticism, Wally. I just want those same people to look at Jock Madden and give him the same. I know we're only paying $50,000 on his contract, but Jock Madden had a shocker the other day, but they'll just forgive it because he did win us 3 games, and we accept that. But that's what backup players do. Like I said, they can't maintain it all year. They're good for a certain period. Jock's got to lift his game. He was awful on Sunday.
You said Jerome should be doing a little bit more, maybe the general play, King.
Yeah, I want to see him lead our team. I want to see him lead a team with attitude and with action. All right, I get all the problems we've got at the moment. Yeah, absolutely. That left edge without Sam Weller, that has a huge impact on what he can do. I get that, but we've also got May outside on the left edge as well, and they can work together. I want to see him skipping left and right again more than he did last week, like he was doing with Adam Dewey earlier in the season. And so skips across the right hand side, and if we're going to attack that left of Manly, then get across to the right, get an extra man out there, and have an impact there. You know what I really want to see him do, and at the end of the game, no matter what, I want to see him look at the camera in the press conference and say something, not sit there with his head down, his head over.
He made a good point last week. I watched that press conference, and there's a bit of that cap down, slumped
He's
shoulders,
lost his swagger.
unlike his Why is that?
He's the leader of our team for the next 18 months, right? For the next 18 months, he's our captain or co-captain, right? And at the moment, he hasn't got it. He's got to bring it this
The biggest
week.
Jerome defender's about to chime in. Come on.
Yeah. Riley 4238 is just triggering me in the comments. So I'll tell you why his head's down. His head's down because of supporters like Riley who are always on his back. I understand that he's on $1.2 million, as you've pointed out in your comment, but just so you know, he said, boys, we didn't sign Jerome on 1.2 to coach the team. It's time to start criticising him rather than poor Jock. Let me criticise Jerome for you, Riley. Jerome's form this year, he's played 6 games. Jock's played 6 games. Adam Dway, he's played 7. Jerome's stats, 8 try assists for someone that goes sideways a lot, 9 line break assists. Adam Dwayhe, 7 try assists, 8 line break assists. So he's 1 up on Adam Dwayhe, and Dwayhe's played 2 games more, and we all know the form he's in. Let me tell you, Jocks, and why we're being critical of him. 1 try assist, 0 line break assists in 6 games. But don't worry, guys, he's the messiah that straightens our attack. I don't understand the hype about Jock. I'm not trying to be super critical of him, but when Luai announced that he's going to PNG, I saw so many comments of, don't worry, we have Jock Madden. Guys, Jock Madden's not even going to be in the starting 17 by the time Luai leaves. It'll be Latu and Adam, or it'll be Adam and Javon Andrews. He's like the 4th option still. Please get off the Jock hype. He does a job, but there's a reason that Brisbane are paying $200 of his $250,000 salary. It's because no one wants him. He's a good backup half, and that's it. He's done a good job in the couple games that he's backed up, but please don't be telling us that we should be looking at him instead of Jerome.
What about stats of win and losses, though? You didn't read them out. They were 3-0 with Jock and Adam at halves and 2-4 with Luai so far this year.
Well, the wins that Jock's had 90% of our full-strength side. Jerome hasn't had that luxury. Samuel Afeno was out last week. Terrell May was out last week. Adam's out last week. Bulla, Appy. So if Jock played with those guys and give him Adam Dwayhe and take out Jerome, I guarantee you there's losses for Jock as well.
Steve mentioned Sunday night. It's Adam Dewey's running game. So it wouldn't matter if Luai was halfback or Jock Madden's halfback. They're looking better because of what Adam can do and run through the line and create and do everything he does. So Madden looks great while Dewey's there. Madden doesn't look great when Adam's not there. And that's not a knock on Jock. Like, the problem is to make your arguments about Jerome Luai, it's a bit like, MJ and LeBron. I'm not comparing him in that sort of thing. But the point is you got to knock one player to make the other player's case. And that's what Rob's had to do there, which...
I hate knocking Jock. I love Jock. I think Jock's a great backup half. I would take Jock as a backup half over most other backup halves. I'm just saying, please don't compare a 4-time premiership winner to someone that wasn't even wanted by the team that won the comp.
But there's different standards with everyone because Jareem Buller, his defence has been poor. He's not living up to the hype tag. If he wants to go to Canterbury, let him go. You look at Mason just defending on the line and Hugh, what's his name? Harry Grant running over the top of him from dummy half and then missing a tackle in the second half and looking shaky under the high ball. But no one... And again, that's because Mason gives his everything too. But there's just different standards held to different players who are seeking the big dollars or on the big dollars, and they're entitled to have their opinion. I just don't agree with it.
I don't even think the arguments are related. Like they are online with some of them, with some of the comments, but I think you can look at Jock Madden. I think you can say he's come in and he's done the job he's been asked to do as a backup half. I don't think anyone could argue that. I disagree about him straightening. I think the way he has straightened the attack and dug into the line has been very helpful in giving us time and space. I think he's done a very good job there. But Jerome is just as effective when he does the same thing,
100%.
right? So I don't think anyone's arguing it. I can't talk about what people are saying online. My point is I want to see him more active as our marquee player. I don't care about 1.2, right? I'm not going to say he's on 1.2, therefore he must. What I'm saying is I want to see him have the impact that a marquee signing needs to have, like Adam Reynolds has. Whether he's got the task of playing 7, whether he's got the task of 6, I want him to play like the marquee player he is. That's what I want to see.
The marquee player, everyone wants him to play like that, takes control. They want him to play that halfback style that takes control, which doesn't suit his game.
No, not necessarily. It's just involvement, right? Involvement that is more than skipping left, skipping right, and getting tackled. Now, that's not all his fault, right? That's not his fault. And you'd be crazy if you didn't accept the point that we've got 6 players out and what's he supposed to do, right? But I don't think he's that marquee player. I don't think he is an Adam Reynolds. I said the other night, and you sort of bit back at me. I said he should have taken control when the kicking game was poor. That's not about controlling the game. It's about him making a decision as the captain of the team to say, I need to get in there, take some pressure off Jock Madden and kick the ball.
But he's probably playing to instructions.
Yeah,
that's the thing. You can't.
Yeah, but you've played footy, mate. Once you get out there, you follow the team. You follow the plan, of course you do. But when it's not working, you make changes on the run. He's the captain. He surely Benji gives him the license to do what has to happen. Like, he should have got in there and taken some pressure off. But why didn't he? He stayed out on that left edge. I don't get it.
See, he brings energy to the team. That's the part where the cap down in the press conference bothers me. I want to just see him forget all that. We know that he's actually copped. It's not really much publicised. He's had some really horrendous DMs from our fans. And I know it's affected him, and I know it's hurt him, and we haven't gone with it publicly before. I'm going to say it now because we know it's a fact. We know it from someone, pretty close to him, and that's really, that's just not tolerable for that. He's with us for another 18 months. I hope he's going to get us to finals football, but he's not a Latrell Mitch. He's not even Adam Dewey in terms of he's going to make a break and run the line, but he does normally lead your line speed. He's good with energy. He just needs to get over this lull that he might be in, because we saw what he could do earlier in the year. He played fantastically well against the Cowboys. We saw him in the trial against Penrith. He was clearly buzzing. Something has got to his head a little bit, but for all that, he's still doing his job. But if his role's to be second fiddle to Madden under instructions from Benji, I don't know what. I agree with you. He could share some kicking duties and stuff like that. And Madden's got a right foot kick and he's got a left foot kick, and they can, use both sides of the ruck and all that. I get that part of it, but I don't know what else he's supposed to do. He's not going to be Phil Blake chipping over the top and regathering the ball and scoring the try. They want him to be a Superman, and he's not that. But he and the other thing too, Sione's at second row.
Thank you. You stole my line.
Because honestly, I don't know if you watch the Wacky Races, mate. That's like having the Arkansas Chuggabug next to you trying to get him through a gap. He's
absolutely.
He's not a tall, thin sort of guy that's going to bust the line. He's got nothing there. That's unfair to Sione to actually play him on the edge.
He's got Taylor next to Sione.
But there's no threat of Sam Weller so that Taylor's got more space, because Sione's got nothing, so the defence doesn't have to worry about Sione much. He doesn't have the speed, he doesn't have the size, he doesn't have the offload. He did a great catch off a bomb the other day that led to Taylor's try. So I'm just saying, he's the wrong piece in the wrong place. Sione is a middle. Sione should not be on a left edge.
There was
no doubt that.
There was 2 times where Luai had to run the ball last week because Sione was already ahead of Jerome Luai when he looked to go out the back to Taylor. And then there was another time where Taylor got the ball behind him because Sione couldn't get in front to get out of the way. Sione's just not an edge forward. My only defence of Luai in attack is the 3 games that he's played where we've had a full side and all our threats on the field, a full spine. We've won those games. Round 1 against the Cowboys, against the Raiders, and who was the other one that he played against? Oh, sorry, and we lost to South Sydney by 4. So
It's an easy sort of narrative for the journos to go with, though, isn't it? Because you sign with PNG,
But it's
then
not
you
the
get smacked by
journos.
50.
It's not the journos. It's our fans. It's our fans.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both.
I just think you want to criticise Luai. You're well and truly entitled to do that. Criticise Madden the same way because Madden's playing worse than Luai.
I also think there's a difference. I think you can have an objective critical analysis of the way the guy plays. I think everyone's entitled to that opinion, however well or poorly informed it is, right? Where it's wrong is where you get half-wits on social media making it personal and saying ridiculous stuff. That's no one should have to put up with that.
I don't even mind that they say it publicly, but when they're getting into his DMs and get the F out of our club, that's just that's not West Tigers like we should be doing that.
You know what hurts the most about that? He was a diehard Tigers fan growing up, and Benji was his idol. Imagine you being a Balmain fan, for example, getting to be in the spine for Balmain, and then that's how the fans treat
Jerome's
you.
big boy, though. Just don't read
No,
it, man.
he'll
get over it.
He dishes it out on social media.
He'll get over it, but you ask him, like, why is his head down? Like, if I knew 90% of my fan base hated me, I wouldn't exactly go
I don't
there.
think
So
90% of the fan base hates him.
I'll just throw one other thing out and just playing devil's advocate here. What he could do also is stop talking himself. Like he put himself under pressure straight away, and maybe he likes to do this by coming over with that line saying, I'm going to be Batman, I'm going to do this. He put himself under pressure then. He said a silly thing when he said, don't worry about the clauses, I'm here forever. Right now, it may have been a throwaway line, but he said it, right? It was a silly thing to say because he's obviously that wasn't his intention to be here forever, which is his right also. But he makes it hard for himself because he's got to back up what he says, and people don't think he is backing that
See, I'm the
up.
opposite, though. I just want him to be himself. I want him to be himself.
It's actually,
Go back to it.
I was just going to say the opposite. I want to see him come out and say, but even again, I want him to say, I'm committed to this club for 18 months and we're going to win some games. We're going to do this. I don't want all this other stuff to bring him down because it's actually, serving the opposite to what we want it to do. Like, he's still with us for 18 months. Some are saying, I hope he F's off to PNG right now. That's just stupidity. Like, we can't do
Let's
that.
move on. Sonia Taruva re-signing for 3 years, Junior. The good news off the field keeps coming. The May brothers re-signing, now Taruva. The threat of PNG, which was looming large a couple of weeks ago, is nearly out the window now.
Yeah, I think there's Latu, Samuela, and maybe Makasini to go, and then it's all systems go. So good news, all of them locked into 2030, which, like I said, that's when Benji's contract runs out as well. So I'm sure fans like yourself will be stressing midway through 2030.
Let's just hope I make it to 2030. You forget he's only 23, Taruva. Like, he's been around forever, but, like, we're going to get his peak years in the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, that's right. How good is it we're getting, elite players? He's close to elite, I'd say, and that are happy to play their best years at our club. It's a fantastic sign. We were down there for coffee on Monday. I just mentioned, by the way, that Benji hasn't turned up 2 weeks in a row.
Because I'm not there, mate.
He's a bit of a fair weather friend, old Benji. Only comes after a win, but and Taruva was there. Like they were doing extras. Like the guys who didn't get, like Terrell was out there, and a couple of others were out there doing extras on Monday morning. And Taruva was there, and he's pumping them up, and he's just such a positive guy around that club. So awesome signing.
That was probably the one I was concerned about losing somewhere, maybe to PNG. So I was surprised, again, pleasantly surprised when I saw it. Sean Mellencamp, Benji, they're getting the job done off the field at the moment.
And Shannon Gallant. So not Shannon, is it Shannon Gallant? Yeah. I thought I got the surname wrong there. They're all doing a great job. We would have had a lot of these signings if it wasn't for Jerome committing to PNG as early as he did. I think the fans need to understand that if Jerome just hit it and didn't make a deal for another, till November 1st, we wouldn't be in this position. I just hope we haven't gone too hard on overs on all those players because we still need the rest of the team and the rest of the pieces to come in there. But I'm pretty sure the Fainu brothers definitely want to be a part of the club. Makasini's problem with us is going to be rugby union. It's not going to be another club. He loves our Tigers. He wants to be there. It's only whether he wants to cross codes or not.
It's a good call, though. I've got the guys written down, the main guys that are 2028 or beyond. Bulla, AD, Appy, the May brothers, Tito, Twal, and Kai Pierce Paul, as well as the coach. That's a good call.
Isn't that our injury list as well, right now? No, but yeah, look, all our weapons are locked in, which is good news. And yeah, I think you mentioned what the journos were saying about, is Luai going to PNG, what's affecting the side and whatever. No, it's the guys that you just mentioned being out. And I think it's a credit to Benji and the culture that's been built off the back of him, Appy and Jerome, because they all want to play for our club and for our coach. So good news for the Tigers.
It is like some short-term pain at the moment and may continue for the next month, but the medium to long-term prospects of this club with the roster they're building is pretty solid, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely it is. I think, and they would know this as well as anyone, I think what we're seeing at the moment, one is you can't have 5 of your best players out at once. And the second thing that we're learning is that our depth isn't quite there yet. So, we want to wrap up these 3 guys that Junior's talking about. And then I think we've got to look at building a little bit of depth, stronger depth underneath. Get what's our cup team? They've won three games this season, so not overly successful. So I suppose
half of them in first grade at the moment.
Well, that's right? Yeah, but we want to bolster that depth, I suppose.
Let's have a quick look, Rob, at just off-contract players at our club in end of this year and end of next year, and you can tell me maybe a yes or no. We'll start with a yes. If any of these guys you'd re-sign at the moment, off contract at the end of this season at the West Tigers: William Craig, Maverick Gaia, Tristan Hope, Heath Mason, Solomon Sakura, Jarrell Skelton, Tony Suka.
I'm not going to say yes to any of them. I'd keep Skelton, but obviously he's on the outer with Benji, and Suka I'm undecided about because I don't know what's going on with him and the coach. He seems to do a job when he does play, but maybe I wouldn't be losing any sleep if we lost all of them, put it that way. 2027
list, you could tell me whether you'd be trying to re-sign them or maybe looking to move some on, or whether you're just 50-50 and see how they go the next year. Latu Fainu, Samuela Fainu, Patrick Herbert, Royce Hunt, Jock Madden, Makasini, Vanua Pole, Ethan Roberts. Taruba's re-signed, so not him anymore.
Who was the third name you mentioned, sorry?
Herbert.
Yeah, I would be trying to re-sign all of those players you mentioned except probably Patrick Herbert.
What, even Jock Madden post 2027?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, he's a great depth half. He'll do good for our cup team, and if there's an injury, he'll step in and do a job for hopefully only a couple of weeks instead of 12.
Royce Hunt as well?
I think his legs probably be done by then, so maybe give him a pass. But the most important 2 that you said on that list, important 3, in this order: Samuela, Latu, Pole.
One that I think Rob missed there in that first list is Solomon Sakura. He's only 19. He's.
I said that last year about him, but I haven't seen enough of him to pass judgment. I would have thought he would have got a run with all our injuries, and he still hasn't had a look in. Maybe they just consider him too young. And the other thing too, I don't know much about Craig as well. I've hardly seen him, so it's pretty hard for me to answer about someone I haven't pretty much watched.
Player market's pretty dry. Like you said pre-show, I mean, people just break contracts these days, so it doesn't mean you can't go out and get players. But of the positions, what do you want me to read out? Fullback, wing, centre, 5'8", halfback, hooker, prop, back row, lock. What do we need most?
We need right centre, right centre, right centre.
Okay, I'll read the centres off contract and tell me anyone, Rob, that jumps out. Jesse Arthurs, Jake Overillo, Dane Gagai, Will Penasini, Jesse Ramian, Tommy Talau. Any of them?
You named everyone you name there is really good in attack and not a good defender. Every single one you know. I don't mind Avarillo, but he's a poor defender. Run that list by me again one more time real quickly.
Jesse Arthurs, Avarillo, Gagai, Penasini, Jesse Ramian, Tommy Talau.
No, I'm not going.
How old's Jesse Arthurs?
He's young enough.
What about hooker? Because we need probably 25. A backup hooker. I know we've got the young Haywood in the mix, but off contract the end of 2026. Got more Tristan Hopes here. Sonny Luke, Cowboys. Freddie Lussick, Jake Turpin, Sam Verrills, Billy Walters. Not much there.
Nah, I like Sonny Luke. I think he's a decent player, but I think the plan's going to be, what year's up he signed to? Is it 2030?
Yeah.
So
no, not
end of 28.
End of 28, sorry. Well, yeah, I think the plan's going to be Api Coruscant starting hooker till then, and Jared Haywood will.
But we need a backup hooker in the meantime.
Well, I think Haywood's going to be coming off the bench next year. I think he'll be in first grade next year.
That's the decision they've got to make, right? They got to say, yeah, he's ready to go as of round 1 next year as the 14 or backup.
Yeah. I said Sunday wouldn't mind at Verrills, but again, I don't know if the Titans want to let go of him.
Do we need another back rower? Maybe a backup back rower?
Seems that way. I mentioned 3 or 4 the other night, and they're not in Benji's liking. So, yeah, it seems like we do need
get Sean Bloor back.
Few old. I was going to say on the off contract at the end of 2026, a few old favourites here: John Bateman, Kelma Tuolagi, Ryan Madison, Sean Bloor, Kurt Capel, Tyson Frizzell, Luciano Leilua. It's about half the Tigers ex back rowers there.
Bloor, yes. Capel, professional. So yes. Professional.
How old?
Doesn't matter. He'll do a job.
Yeah, look, I saw.
And he's a backup.
I saw the off-contract players. I think my wish list. I like Avarillo. I would love to have him at right centre for us. The one that we haven't spoken about yet is I wouldn't mind bolstering up the middle a little bit, but not by signing a prop, by signing a lock. I'd like to sign Dylan Walker. I love Dylan Walker. I think that's the style Latu said in a press conference earlier this year that he tried to bring to the lock role when he's been thrown in there off the bench. So I'd like to sign him as a lock off the bench, and then that allows Kyle to move into prop.
I saw like locks off contract, Kurt Mann, Cameron McInnes. They're both going all right, both of those guys.
They're all right, but Dylan Walker is better in my opinion.
All right, Steve, we're bringing back the tiers. It's back for a second week. So we're going to go from the bottom this time. It's probably more in my style to go from the bottom to the top. So the last tier, tier 5, I'm going to call it the 2 irrelevant teams, the Titans and the Dragons. I think they've got buckleys of doing anything this year.
Yep.
The second list, Rob, I've named them. They're barely hanging on. I've got 3 teams in this list. Maybe a bit harsh. Storm, Eels, and Dogs. I don't think any of them can make the 8.
I don't think so either, but I would have put the Titans in that list you just put there. I think the Titans are a better team than they're not St. George. They're better than St. George.
St. George. Junior, I've got a muddled middle, whereas top 8 the goal for all these sides. Cowboys, Knights, Tigers, Eagles, Dolphins, Sharks, Raiders. I reckon 3 of them make it, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams in there.
I've got the Eagles a tier above that.
I thought about that.
Yeah.
Do you really think that? That means you're pushing for top 4.
Yeah, I think they will. I think they're the next best team outside of the top 4 right now, or with Brisbane, of course. So,
Steve, my second tier, second to top, tier 2, top 4 being the goal: Roosters, Warriors, Souths, and the Broncos.
Yeah, hate to say it, but I think the Roosters are going to be top shelf. That's not your top tier, is it? That's your second tier.
He's got Penrith on their own, has he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I had Penrith and Brisbane in the same tier, but Brisbane actually, I know they're decimated, but they're 5 and 5, so they're out of the 8.
Penrith, Brisbane, South, and who was the other one? The Roosters. They'll be the top 4, but like I said multiple times, I want it to come back in my face if I'm wrong. I don't think the Roosters are anything more than preliminary final losers.
We'd take that, preliminary final losers. That'd be great to say that one year. But last one, Junior, of those sides in that muddled middle, I reckon there's 3 spots realistically available in the 8. I think I ask this every week, but it probably changes every week. Like teams like, I reckon Newcastle, I'm not going to say they're a certainty, but they look like a really good football side.
They're close to.
Yeah, look, there's 4 that are definitely in finals. 5 that are definitely in finals. I think we've gone through. That's Penrith, Warriors, Roosters, Rabbits, and Brisbane. Not in no particular order. I think Manly as well will end up making up the top 6, and I think we're going to be fighting for 7th and 8th with the Knights, Sharks,
Dolphins, Raiders, a lot of them.
I don't think the Raiders. I don't think the Raiders will fight. I don't think the Raiders are as good of that one in the middle. I think it'll be between us, Knights, Sharks, and Cowboys or Dolphins. I think their attack is too good. So.
All right, boys, before we go, a couple of functions on in the next few days. Steve, ambush this weekend?
Yeah, the ambush is on this Saturday afternoon at the Orange Grove Hotel at 2 p.m. So if you're not going up to Magic Round, you want to get around some Tigers fans, come to the Orange Grove, and there'll be giveaways and a few games and a bit of a podcast as well. We'll talk about the game and then watch the game together. So Orange Grove Hotel this Saturday, 2 p.m.
Excellent. And Rob, sponsors of West Tigers Life show on a Wednesday, Summerhill Hotel.
Yeah, so just really quickly, West Tigers Life tomorrow night at 8:30, Hear Her Roar, 5 o'clock Thursday, and West Tigers Faithful, 5 o'clock on Friday. And we have a trivia night Monday night at the Summerhill Hotel. It's at 8:30, which is a little bit late to my liking, but hopefully you'll all get out there. It's a general NRL trivia night, so it's not just West Tigers theme. So bring all your friends if they go for other teams. There'll be plenty of giveaways, vouchers, food and drink vouchers and prizes and whatever. So it should be a really good night. Hopefully you can make it this coming Monday, 8:30 at the Summerhill Hotel.
You're going to show up this Sunday, Junior, or depends if we win or not?
This Sunday?
Yeah, you're right, because we've got another withdrawal this Sunday.
Yeah, I might have to step up.
Steve's Magic Round.
I'll be still drowning my sorrows. Be nice for you to turn up.
So we're not doing predictions then, obviously, are we?
I'm actually semi-confident this week. I think we're a real chance.
That's a worry.
I'll give you this. We'll cover the start. 10.5.
Nah.
I look at the betting odds all the time.
Nope.
I just think get in their face. They're so beatable this week. Get in their face. Just Terrell May is going to bring the house. Get in their face, fix up right centre, get Taruva into right centre, late positional change, get Latu the half, we'll be all right.
Close in the first half and then an absolute blowout in the second.
They need to make a statement, but I don't think they're going to.
Tigers by 1. Claus out to be back Sunday night as well as the coach's report. Thanks for tuning in.